This is a place for planting, for digging, for harvesting, for relaxing. It's a place to get your hands dirty, but most of all, it's about having fun. And that's what you'll always have when you're in the garden with Doug Oster. You want a green thumb too, don't you? Today we start the annual tradition of planting bulbs, and not only daffodils, tulips, and other flowers. We're going to be planting garlic too, and it's not instant gratification. But you're going to be so glad in the spring when this turns into a wonderful flower. We've got the right tool, now we just got to find the right place. Deciding where your bulbs are going to be planted, that's important. I do think this is the perfect place. This is a perennial bed. Gets as much sun as I can get under these trees. And the idea is the bulbs will be planted, they'll bloom, and then the perennials will grow up and cover that foliage, because we have to leave the foliage in to give energy back to the bulb. We'll talk about that in the spring. I'm planting daffodils and hyacinths out here. This is open to the deer. If I put tulips in here, you know what would happen. That's their favorite food. And look at this bulb. This is a variety called Marique. It's a daffodil. And when you go to the nursery, and you can choose through a whole bushel of bulbs, get the biggest ones. Bigger bulbs, bigger flowers. This has 2 noses, meaning 2 flowers. And all we're gonna do is use this tool. This is the power planter, the earth auger. And it makes bulb planting easy. As you'll see, we're just gonna find a place here and dig down about, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 inches, and in it goes. And I've got probably 20 of these to put in. And as I said, this is going to be the best thing for us in the spring. And we're not putting these in rows like soldiers. We're putting these in little drifts. Sometimes I'll just throw the bulbs out, and that's where they'll get planted. One great combination for these daffodils are daylilies, because they will come up and cover that foliage as it degrades. This is one way to plant bulbs, but there is a brand new way to plant bulbs. Meet me at the patio, and I'm going to finish up here. Well, check these out. They're called Easy Bloom Pads. I saw them last year at a trade show, and I think it's a great idea. What we're going to do is you've got 5 bulbs in this paper pad. We're going to dig a hole, or a couple holes, put some compost in it, just lay this in there, and it's going to assure us that our bulbs are planted in drifts instead of like rows of soldiers, and that's the way we want to do it. Let's get to work. I have a hole here dug about 8 inches deep. It's big enough around for the 3 bloom pads. Wherever we plant bulbs, we need fertile, well-drained soil, and that's what the compost is going to do for us. I'm just going to add a little bit on the bottom, spread it around, put my bloom pads in, and then cover it up with the backfill. All right, that was pretty easy. I might have to get myself some more of those easy bloom pads. Meet me over in the vegetable garden for the #1 job for a guy like me, planting garlic. Yes. Well, first off, I think I need to take this bed back. My favorite perennial, self-seeded in here. This is called Corydalis lutea. It started blooming in April, and look at it now. It's still blooming, but we're gonna have to move it. For now, I'm gonna improve the front of this bed with compost, and then we're gonna plant our garlic. Garlic in the garden is like anything out of the garden. It's better than anything you'll ever get in the store. And I've got 4 different varieties here given to me from a friend, Bruce Ellis. Killarney, Slovenian, Kettle River, and Transylvanian garlic. That's going to be fun to grow. So let's get our compost on, and then I'll show you how to split these bulbs up. All right, we're going to put our Transylvania in here. One more thing, these golf clubs were put in place in the spring. That's what I used to get my peas to grow up, and I just leave them here. It's a work of art. And for the garlic, all we do is we split apart this big head into cloves. Each clove goes in about 4 inches down, maybe 4, 5, 6 inches apart. And after that, all we have to do is mulch it with a little bit of straw, and it's good to go. We'll sit here all winter long, and next spring we get our garlic greens. I'm using kind of a grid pattern here to get them closer together, so kind of an alternating planting pattern. Good to have a nice layer of straw in here. I'm gonna have to get another bale and thicken this up a little bit. Acts as a blanket to keep those cloves happy. The biggest cloves get planted, the smallest, that keeps the vampires away. This is pineapple sage. It's a late bloomer, like yours truly, and it's growing in a pot. The reason I have it out here is I'm trying to attract a hummingbird that we're not used to seeing. For the last several years, we've had a hummingbird migrating through our area. If you see a hummingbird this time of the year, call the National Aviary. They want to know about it. Now let's finish up and we're going to say goodbye to an old friend. Well, our trees are kind of like friends in the garden, and on June 2nd, 1998, before I even moved in here, the top of this tree was sheared off when we had a tornado in Pittsburgh, and it's been sitting here ever since. And over these years, a climbing hydrangea I planted has grown up there. That has snapped off now. I don't know what we're going to do about that, but it's kind of sad to see this old cherry tree go. I was walking by and just saw, oh, how did I miss that, and just fell over one day in a storm. But that's the way it goes, and it served us well for this climbing hydrangea. I do have one more thing for us to take a look at. Come on, buddy. Come on, Max. This is a very special bag of daffodils. It's a variety called Fellow's Favorite, named for Fellows Riverside Gardens. To find out why it's so important to me, just check me out online. There's lots of photos, videos, and stories about things like this there. Until next week, I've got about 200 heads of garlic to plant and lots of daffodils too. We'll see you then. And the right tool is this power planter. Did you see that hit my face? It went boom.